Hello everyone, welcome to our channel, Meetings Assistance for Jehovah's Witnesses. I hope all of you are doing well. In this video, we will analyze and answer the questions from this week's Watchtower study, which corresponds to the week of February 17th to 23rd, and is titled How to Help Children Strengthen Their Faith. Without further ado, let's begin. Let's look at questions 1 and 2. How should parents react to their children's questions about our biblical beliefs? Parents shouldn't worry if their children ask questions about our beliefs. Instead, they should see it as an opportunity to help them reason and understand for themselves what they believe. It is also important to speak to them with patience and love, so they feel confident expressing their doubts. Additional comments. In Deuteronomy 6:6-7, we see that Jehovah commands us to teach His words to our children at all times. This reminds me that I should always be ready to answer their questions and guide them with the Bible. According to 1 Corinthians 13:11, when someone is a child, they think and reason like a child, but with time, they mature. Understanding this helps me to be patient and see their questions as part of their spiritual growth. Let's look at question 3. What will we analyze in this article? In this article, we will analyze how parents can help their children develop their own convictions, value the moral standards of the Bible, and defend their beliefs. We will also look at the positive aspect of their questions and family activities that can help strengthen their faith. Let's move on to the first subtitle, Help Them Develop Their Own Convictions. Let's look at question 4. What questions might children ask, and why? Children may wonder if God really exists or if the Bible is trustworthy because faith is not inherited. Each person must develop it for themselves. It is normal for these doubts to arise because the Bible itself encourages us to reason and examine what we believe. Additional comments. In Romans 12:1, we are urged to worship God with our ability to reason. This shows that faith should not be based only on what we are told, but on logical analysis. That's why it is important to help children examine the evidence for God's existence and the value of His standards. According to 1 Thessalonians 5:21, it is important to test everything and hold on to what is good. This teaches that it's not enough to accept beliefs just because of tradition, but we need to analyze them with the Bible and evidence to reach firm conclusions. Let's look at question 5. How can you help children develop their own faith in the Bible? Romans 12:2. To help children develop their own faith in the Bible, it is important to encourage them to verify for themselves that what we believe is true. They can be taught to search for answers in tools like the study guide and compare biblical information with historical evidence, such as the discovery of the ruins of Nineveh. Additional comments. In Romans 12:2, we are urged to transform our thinking to know the will of God. This shows that faith should not be blind but based on a deep analysis of the evidence that confirms the accuracy of the Bible. In Zephaniah 2:3, 13 to 15, the destruction of Nineveh was predicted, and centuries later, its ruins were discovered, confirming the prophecy. This type of historical evidence helps us reason that the Bible is not a common book but the inspired Word of God. Let's look at question 6. How can you stimulate children's reasoning ability? Give an example. Also see the image. To stimulate children's reasoning ability, parents can take opportunities to talk about the Bible and faith in God in places like museums or botanical gardens. For example, when visiting a museum, they can show historical evidence, such as the Moabite stone, which confirms the accuracy of the Bible and strengthens their faith. Additional comments. In 2 Kings 3:4-5, the rebellion of King Mesha of Moab against Israel is mentioned, an event also recorded on the Moabite stone. This shows that the Bible is historically accurate, helping us reason why we can trust its truthfulness. In 2 Chronicles 9:6, the Queen of Sheba recognizes that what she had heard about Solomon's wisdom was true after seeing it with her own eyes. This teaches that faith is strengthened when we personally verify the truth of the Bible through concrete evidence. Let's look at questions 7 and 8, Part A. What do the beauty and design we see in nature demonstrate? Give an example. Also see the images. The beauty and design in nature demonstrate that there was an intelligent creator. For example, the Fibonacci sequence repeats in the spirals of galaxies, seashells, and flowers, which indicates a precise and ordered design. Additional comments. In Hebrews 3:4, it says that every house has a builder, but the one who has made all things is God. Just as a house does not appear on its own, the precision in nature shows that there was a designer behind it. When we see complex patterns in nature, such as the Fibonacci sequence, we can ask ourselves, how did this order come about? Logic leads us to conclude that it was not a product of chance, but from a creator with infinite wisdom. Let's look at questions 7 and 8, Part B. What types of questions can help children reinforce their belief that there is a creator? Questions like, who established the laws that govern nature, or, where does the order in the universe come from, can help children reason and strengthen their faith that God is the creator. Additional comments. The order in nature cannot be explained without a creator. If there are laws that govern life and the universe, it's logical to think that someone established them, and the Bible tells us it was Jehovah. If God created all things with a perfect design, He must have also left instructions to guide us. This helps us reason that, if we follow His rules in the Bible, we will have a happier and more purposeful life. Let's move on to the second subtitle, Help them understand the value of biblical moral standards. Let's look at question 9. For what reasons might children question the value of the Bible's standards? If children question the value of the Bible's standards, it could be because they don't understand them well or they have difficulty explaining them to others. Instead of worrying, it's important to find out the reason and help them see the wisdom behind the biblical principles. Additional comments. In Proverbs 4:7, we are encouraged to gain wisdom and understanding. This shows that instead of just imposing rules, it's better to help children reason about why the Bible's standards are valuable. When children face external pressure, they may doubt their values. If we help them analyze real situations and explain their beliefs with confidence, they will be able to defend their faith with conviction and assurance. Let's look at question 10. How can you help children have a closer relationship with Jehovah? To help children have a closer relationship with Jehovah, it is important to ask them questions that motivate them to express their thoughts and feelings. They can also be taught that His standards are not a burden, but a demonstration of His love and guidance for our well-being. Additional comments. In Proverbs 20:5, deep thoughts are compared to deep waters that need to be drawn out with understanding. This shows that by asking appropriate questions to our children, we can help them reflect and strengthen their friendship with Jehovah. In Isaiah 48:17-18, Jehovah reminds us that His commands benefit us and lead us to peace. Helping children reason about this will allow them to see the biblical standards not as restrictions, but as advice from a loving Father. Let's look at question number 11. What can be done to help children value biblical principles even more? Proverbs 2:10-11. To help children value biblical principles more, it's good to talk to them about the benefits of applying them in daily life. By sharing personal experiences and concrete examples, they can see how Jehovah's standards protect us and help us to be happy. Additional comments. In Proverbs 2:10-11, it mentions that wisdom and discernment protect those who acquire them. This shows that if we help our children reason about biblical principles, they will be able to see their value and apply them with conviction. When Hebrews 13:18 encourages us to be honorable in everything, it highlights a key principle that brings good results. If children understand that honesty gives them peace of mind and good relationships, they will appreciate Jehovah's standards more. Let's look at question number 12. What do a married couple do to help their child understand the practical value of biblical principles? To help their child understand the practical value of biblical principles, this couple asks questions that help the child reason about Jehovah's love. In this way, the child reaches the conclusion that following biblical standards is the best choice. Additional comments. In Proverbs 3:5-6, we are encouraged to trust in Jehovah and not just in our own wisdom. This shows that if we help our children compare human wisdom with God's, they will see for themselves that His principles are the most trustworthy. When Psalm 119:97-100 highlights the love for God's law, it mentions that it gives more understanding than the wisdom of teachers. If children understand this, they will value the Bible as the best guide for their lives. Let's look at question number 13. How can children be taught to apply biblical principles? Give an example. To teach children to apply biblical principles, it's helpful to help them analyze them in real situations. For example, if they have to read a book in school with characters who act wrongly, they can compare their behavior with what the Bible teaches and thus reinforce their values. Additional comments. In Proverbs 22:24-25, we are warned that associating with hot-tempered people can cause us to learn their ways. This helps children reason that not every example in literature or media is worth imitating. According to Philippians 4:8, we should focus on things that are true, just, and virtuous. Reflecting on this principle allows children to evaluate what they read or watch and make decisions that strengthen their spirituality. Let's look at question number 14. What topic might intimidate a young Christian, and why? The topic of evolution might intimidate a young Christian because many teachers present it as a proven fact. This can make them feel insecure when defending their faith, especially if they haven't properly analyzed the evidence for creation. Additional comments. In 1 Peter 3:15, we are encouraged to always be prepared to defend our faith with gentleness. This teaches that if young people study the evidence supporting creation, they will be able to respond with confidence and certainty. Romans 1:20 says that God's qualities are clearly seen in creation. Helping children analyze the complexity of life and the universe will allow them to reason that the existence of a creator is the most logical explanation. Let's move on to the third subtitle, Teach them to defend their beliefs. Let's look at question number 15. What will help young Christians be more confident in their beliefs? To help young Christians have more confidence in their beliefs, it's important to remind them that they are not alone and that even some scientists recognize intelligent design in life. They can also strengthen their faith by reflecting on the reasons that have convinced other brothers that God is the Creator. Additional comments. In 2 Timothy 1:8, we are encouraged not to be ashamed to testify about our faith. This shows that if young people are well prepared, they will be able to express their beliefs confidently without fear of others' opinions. Romans 1:20 says that God's invisible qualities are clearly seen in creation. Helping young people analyze the complexity of life will allow them to reason that the existence of a creator is the most logical and well-supported explanation. Let's look at question number 16. How can you help children defend their belief in a creator? 1 Peter 3:15, also see the image. To help children defend their belief in a creator, it's helpful to review reliable information together and practice how to explain it in a simple and logical way. They should also remember that it's not necessary to argue, but to respond with respect and confidence when someone is willing to have a conversation. Additional comments. In 1 Peter 3:15, we are encouraged to always be prepared to defend our faith with gentleness and respect. This shows that if children practice explaining their belief in God with logical arguments, they will feel more confident doing so. When someone says that they only believe in what they see, it may be helpful to remember Romans 1:20, which says that God's qualities are clearly seen in creation. Reasoning about the design of the universe can help others reflect on the existence of a creator. Let's look at question number 17. How can children be encouraged to look for opportunities to talk about the Bible? Give an example of what a young person might ask a peer. To encourage children to talk about the Bible, they can be taught that with practice, it will become easier. They can start with simple conversations, like showing a video about design in nature and asking questions that invite reflection without pressuring others. Additional comments. In Romans 10:10, it mentions that faith is exercised with the heart, but with the mouth, a declaration is made for salvation. This teaches that expressing our belief strengthens our faith and can help others learn the truth. If a young person asks simple questions like in Matthew 6:26, where Jesus spoke about the birds to reason about God's care, it can make their peer reflect on the design in nature and consider the existence of a creator. Let's move on to the fourth subtitle, Keep Helping Them Strengthen Their Faith. Let's look at question number 18. How can you help children continue to strengthen their faith in God? To help children strengthen their faith in God, it's important to encourage them to study topics that reinforce their respect for the Bible and its standards. They can also be helped to reason about creation and fulfilled prophecies, and most importantly, pray with them and for them. Additional comments. In 2 Peter 3:3, we are warned that in the last days there will be mockers who will doubt God. This shows the importance of helping children have a solid faith based on clear reasons and evidence. In 2 Chronicles 15:7, Jehovah promises that our effort will be rewarded. This motivates us not to give up on teaching our children spiritually, trusting that Jehovah will strengthen their faith over time. Now we will answer the review questions titled, How can parents help their children do these things? Question 1. Develop their own convictions. To help children develop their own faith, parents can encourage them to ask questions and investigate the truthfulness of the Bible. Instead of worrying if they express doubts, they can seize the opportunity to help them reason, analyze evidence, and reach their own conclusions. Additionally, they can use tools like the Jehovah's Witness Study Guide and personal experiences to show them how faith can be practical and logical. Question 2. Understand the value of biblical standards. Parents can help their children see Jehovah's standards not as restrictions, but as guides for their well-being. By talking about the benefits of applying biblical principles and contrasting them with what happens when they are not followed, children will be able to reason about their value. It's also helpful to highlight Jehovah's love behind his commands, as shown by fulfilled prophecies and advice that protect us emotionally and physically. Question 3. Defend their belief in a Creator. To help children feel confident when talking about creation, parents can show them evidence of design in nature and encourage them to analyze scientific arguments supporting the existence of a Creator. Reviewing reliable materials together, such as articles from jw.org, and practicing how to respond to difficult questions will give them security. It's also important to remind them that they don't need to argue, but simply express their faith with respect and logic. Well, these have been the answers from this week's Watchtower study. I hope they are very helpful, my dear brothers and sisters. We will see you next week with a new video. I send you a big hug, and may Jehovah always bless and protect you.